What's the deal? What's the deal? What's the deal? It's Said Talks from Said Talks TV. And today we gonna go ahead and jump right into it, man. We talking about the FBI, Chauncey Billups, and motherfuckers just not getting away with nothing. You're not gonna be able to get away with nothing today, apparently. According to Trump, according to Kash Patel, there is no free passes whatsoever. Okay? So when it comes to doing crime, you're gonna go sit down and you're gonna do the time. So have your bill ready, have your stove ready, have your phone call ready, have your list with all the numbers and names that you gotta make calls to, dog, because right now, if anything is showing us that people are not gonna be able to get away with nothing, it's this NBA gambling ring that's going on, and it's Chauncey Billups getting caught up, it's Terry Rozier getting caught up, it's multiple different players getting caught up. I think it was Damon Jones, possibly, maybe Damon Jones got caught up as well. It's like, come on, y'all are millionaires. Y'all are making hundreds of millions of dollars every year. And then with Chauncey, you're a former NBA superstar, won a championship in 2003, became an NBA coach later on down the road, and now you getting caught up as an NBA coach with this gambling and sports betting stuff. And it's like, man, what are we doing, bro? Like, you're making plenty of money, but the problem is we are not using financial literacy to elevate. We're not using what is in books, what is on podcasts, and the information that's out there that can elevate you to really be able to invest your money and really make it turn a profit later on down the road. We're making dumb decisions when it comes to money, because it's millionaires. Apparently it's millionaires that are living paycheck to paycheck. I seen a video a couple months ago. It was a guy, he's making six figures, right? And six figures isn't necessarily a crazy amount of money, but back in the day, it was a six-figure standard of when you're making six figures, that's enough for you to be able to have a good life, right? He broke down all his expenses. He broke down childcare, rent, groceries, all of his bills and his monthly expenses, and he was negative. His income in to income out ratio was actually negative on a six-figure salary, making well over $4,000 every 2 weeks. So it's like, if we're able to sit here and make all this money and still be struggling at six figures, I think it's the same thing with people who are millionaires, but they end up making they make way more money, but they end up with the exact income in versus income out cash flow ratio that everyone else is dealing with. Whether you're getting $1,500 a week, whether you're getting $1,500 every 2 weeks, whether you're getting $15,000 every month, what we're seeing is people who are not money savvy and don't have any financial literacy on the forefront, right? Back in the day when you had, not even the EBT thing, because, right, the government shut down and everybody's upset because nobody's getting their food stamps, right? But when I'm seeing people doing their food hauls and I'm seeing people go to the grocery store, they got whole carts full of groceries. They got lobster, they got steak, they got cookies, they got all kind of stuff in the cart, right? It's not like they got bread, eggs, cheese, meat. It ain't like they got the basic necessities that we need. They eating good off they $400, off they $500, $600 a month. They're eating better than you, and you have a regular job with no food stamps. EBT people are eating better than you, bro. And it's like, what happened to rice and beans? What happened to hot dogs and bread? What is a bun? What happened to ramen noodles of every single pack, every flavor? Put the season on there and that mug is spicy. That's good food, that's good eats. What happened to putting the bread in the pan, throwing an egg on there with the cinnamon drizzle, and now you got some French toast. What happened to that? See, we got people that are living in the middle class. We got people who have never really been poor, who have never really had to make $15, $20 stretch in for a week on the internet, being the loudest ones on TikTok, who are upset about the government shutdown, who are upset about the fact that their stamps are getting cut off. And rightfully so, because Congress is sitting up there going back and forth. Oh, it's the Dems, oh, it's the Republicans, right? Going back and forth whole time, they getting a paycheck. So they have no real incentive to open nothing up because they're getting paid, so they don't care, right? And you got people that have worked the whole month and ain't got no money yet. But when you're working in the government, and every year, let's not act like it's a Trump thing. Every year is somebody threatening a government shutdown, regardless of who's in office. Yeah, this is the longest where people have really sat down and they say, okay, we standing on business. We standing on business, and we ain't opening it up until we get what we want, right? So this is the first time where people don't actually locked in and stood on business to where they ain't gonna open it up. But every year it's a threat of, okay, we're gonna shut it down. We're gonna shut it down. We're gonna shut it down. So if I was a person working for the government, which I'm not, I would say, okay, it's probably time for me to go ahead and save up a little coin, save up a little cash. You know what I'm saying? Put something to the side for a situation like this. Because yeah, it's hard and it's not right, but you gotta look ahead to the future, and you gotta look out for you. You gotta mind your own business, the business that pays you. You can't be so busy caught up having fun and doing things to where you don't look at how, okay, if my job fires me tomorrow, how am I gonna pay my bills down the road? How am I gonna pay my bills for the rest of the year, right? Nobody's really looking at how they're gonna be able to do that. And that's why I'm saying it's self-inflicted wounds to the extent, because we are not spending the money the way that it needs to be spent. You're going to the grocery store, you're getting lobster, you're getting steaks, you're getting cakes, you're getting cookies, you're getting everything. You getting the food as if, you know, you're a regular person working a regular job. And don't get it twisted. I don't have a problem with a person getting extra with their EBT or how they spend it. But what I am saying though is this: if you're not spending it in a way to where it can stretch, if you're one of these people who are privileged and got the money and are still getting EBT, you gotta start learning how to make it stretch. You gotta start learning how to make the money stretch long term, because we don't know when it's gonna be opened up. And the only one who's gonna be responsible for feeding your kid is you. Ain't nobody else responsible for that but you. And so my thing is this: you're gonna have to go back to making struggle meals for now. You're gonna have to go back to making struggle meals. You're gonna have to go back to stretching the dollar. You are. That's the bottom line. You're gonna have to go back to stretching the dollar. You're gonna have to go back to really looking at what you can afford, man, because these lobsters, these steaks, these different type of food, it's like, dog, you can't afford that if you're on EBT. You really can't afford steak and lobster if you're on EBT. All that different type of good eats and good food. You really can't, because at the end of the day, it's like, what about tomorrow? It's like people are living for the day and they're not thinking about tomorrow. And it all ties back in, because it's like, Chauncey, if you have to be doing sports betting, they said basically, what they said was basically this, right? They basically said that he was the face, right? So when we go into when we go into a betting event, we go in there to bet, right? It could be a gambling hall, it could be what they call a house party, whatever. You know, when we go in there, we're looking around, we're scoping out the scene, right? Everybody's betting. We don't know who's who, we don't know who's won, none of that, right? But when I see Chauncey Billups, I'm like, okay, bet, Chauncey in here, right? NBA coach, NBA champion, Mr. Big Shot. Who do you think you are, right? You dig what I'm saying? So you think it's all good. You think, okay, he in here, so that means it's fair and it's fair game. But in reality, he's only in there to make sure that you go place your bet. Whole time, the whole thing is rigged. So that's what he's being convicted of. He's being convicted of working with these crime families and being the face. And my thing is this, it's like, dog, you done made it to the league. You done made it to being an NBA coach. You're making millions of dollars. You made millions of dollars when you was a player. And it's like, dog, when are we gonna start as a people taking our money and putting it into something that's legal? Not, ooh, you got a good job and then you selling weed on the side. It's like, bro, when are we gonna grow out of that? When are we gonna start being able to get to a point where it's like we are only invested in things that are legal? Because in 2025, bro, with Kash Patel and Donald Trump in office, you're not getting away with nothing. You ain't getting away with jaywalking, bro. You're not getting away with jaywalking, bro. So it's like you making all this money, and it's like if you out here still doing things illegally, imagine what the YNs is doing. Imagine what the people who working at McDonald's is doing. Imagine how they're supplementing their second source of income, right? Because you're setting a bad example. I don't care if they came to you on some extortion shit and said, hey, we need you to do this. We need you to go in here. We need you to be the face. We need other people to come in here who are millionaires, and for you to make it look like it's all good, even though the whole time we running their pockets, we tapping pockets, and there's no chance of them winning. Yeah, it's on the people who are betting to be accountable for the fact that, yeah, you know, they have an addiction or whatever, but still, you're people's idols. We grew up watching Mr. Big Shot. We grew up watching The Bad Boy. You know what I'm saying? We grew up watching Big Ben Wallace. We grew up watching Rasheed Wallace. We grew up watching Rip Hamilton with the face mask on. All 82 games. You feel me? With the cornrows in. We grew up watching y'all. So it's like, if I'm a motherfucker who don't know no better, and I'm going in there to go bet my money, if I see Chauncey, you could say maybe it's naive of me to say, I see Chauncey and I think, oh, it's all good. Because he ain't here, so it's got to be legit. But that's how people think. It's not about what's right. It's not about being extra smart. It's about simple psychology and knowing the fact that when these people see you in here, they're going to know, they're going to feel that everything is good. And it's not. And it's a scheme and it's a scam. And the whole time they're running your pockets and you done lost. So for me, it's like, for you to be a millionaire, for you to be an NBA coach, and to still be running game like this, and to get caught, it's like, bro, what are you doing? Like, everybody knows if you on a job and it's a new manager that comes into the job, you know it's time to get on a different program. It's time to kind of adjust. It's time to start seeing. It's time to start reading the room. And it's time to start seeing and looking and seeing that, okay, well, the old manager is gone and the new manager is going to be ruling over us in a different way than the old manager was, right? That's just what it is. The bottom line is this. When it's a new regime in office, when it's a new regime in your department store, in your warehouse, in your fast food, you cannot expect the old manager, you cannot expect the new manager to act like the old manager. The things you were doing when the old manager was here are going to be the same things that are going to get you fired when a new manager comes in. Because your behavior is remnant of that old manager. That old manager allowed certain things to be okay that the new manager is completely against, and also is ready to reprimand because they're ready to show you coming into a situation that, hey, this is not that. They're ready to show you that coming in when they take the job. They know that when they come in, that this is not that. So you being a celebrity, you being someone who's making $1 million a year or more, you being the coach that's over these young NBA players who they're getting a lot of money too. That's the part that people miss out on. They're getting a lot of money too. They're getting a lot of money to go Kobe, to go bounce pass, to go D up, to go switch, I got basket. They're getting a lot of money to do that, bro. And you're the OG in the locker room drawing up plays on a whiteboard saying, hey, when you go backdoor court, well, hey, Dame, when you set the screen, big man is going to roll to the rim and you're going to throw the lob. If he sags off, shoot the three, right? These dudes are getting paid a whole lot of money to sit there and watch you draw plays on a whiteboard for you to come in some Nike Air Force Ones or all gray basketball suit, you know what I'm saying? An all gray suit and a pop it, you know what I'm saying? On the sideline to, hey ref, timeout. They're getting paid a lot of money to watch you do that and for them to go get a lay or to go get a dunk or to shoot a three or to crossover, kill a crossover, set the screen, pull up, shoot the midi, right? They're getting paid a whole lot of money for that. All for you to behind closed doors to be the one that's making sports bets on these players or just doing gambling in general. So to me, it makes me sit back and it makes me wonder, like, where is the leadership example? Where is it, where and when is it gonna come a time where we say, you know what, we're not doing that no more. We're not doing it no more, and we getting enough legal money to where we say, hey, we good. We living a good lifestyle. We doing what we need to do. When and where is that gonna come into the frame? When is that gonna come into the picture? Right? You got a new NBA season that just kicked off. You got Wemby scoring 40. You got Wemby getting 9 blocks. You got Wemby 7'5" doing crossovers, doing lays, setting screens, rolling to the basket, being the person who's not only the person who's got the ball in his hands, but being the person who's rolling to the basket at 7'5". Kevin Durant, everything right, nothing wrong, right? The NBA has a good product right now. The NBA has a lot of potential ahead of it. Yeah, we got players making $100 million, but at the same time, most people aren't really watching NBA games. You got some young cats out here who are making you want to watch the NBA game, who are making you want to watch the context of how did that highlight come about, right? You got players that are actually doing that. And so the NBA has a real problem on their hands because you got guys like Chauncey Billups, you got guys like Terry Rozier, you got other players, and Cash Patel already told you guys it's going to be a lot that comes out later on that's going to show. It's going to be more indictments, there's going to be more players. You just seen Michael Porter, brother, Jonte Porter, he got caught up with the same thing. And so this sports betting stuff is almost as bad as porn. I'm talking to a guy the other day at work. He's got a bet on Jimmy Butler. He waiting on Jimmy Butler to get that 10th assist. Lo and behold, Jimmy got it, right? But what is that doing for the mind? What that's doing for the mind is every time it's a game, we're going to bet on it and hope and pray that our favorite player gets a certain amount of stats. And then you got jokers going to the game and they're yelling at the NBA player saying, hey, man, I got you getting 25 points tonight, man. What's up with that? Yeah, the NBA players are already making millions like we once stated before. But at the same time, it's like, we don't need your money as a person who's betting. We don't care about you. You in the stands. Enjoy it. Be entertained. That's what it's about. It's about entertainment. Be entertained. So we don't need the money from you winning or whatever. Even if you tell somebody, oh, we going to break you off if you really cash it on this bet. Bro, we make $100 million a year, bro. We not tripping off of you. 20, 50, 30. We making millions, bro. And it's not like how it used to be where it's 20 million, 25 million. Michael Jordan contract is a top that's a top contract. It's not. You got guys making 40, 50, 60, 70 million dollars a year. They don't care about somebody betting on a game. They want you to come there, like Kevin Durant said, we want you to come here, keep it respectful, and shut up and watch the game and have fun. We don't care about your bet. And they're going to tell you that. You go to the game, they're going to tell you that. We don't care about your bet. And so we're ruining a great sport. We're ruining a great product with this sports betting because nobody's watching the game. They're watching the highlight. Or if they are watching it, they're watching it just because they got a bet on it. And we, as the older brothers in the league, is setting a bad example by even being involved with it because you're already making the type of money you need. Whether it's coming from a lack of financial literacy, whether it's coming from trying to overdo it, it don't matter what it's coming from. The final product is, look at these dudes, still ain't got enough money, still got to try to do some crime, feeding right back into the stereotype that always has been. When are we going to start being entrepreneurs? When are we going to en masse start being engineers? When are we en masse going to start being doctors? I know that the system, I know that, you know, we're not starting at the same place as everybody else. But when are we going to say, you know what? Bump that, bro. We gotta go out and get it. We got to go out and get it. We got to en masse become doctors. We got to en masse become engineers. We got to en masse do something and get a degree and go into debt behind something that's going to pay out later. We got to start doing that because everybody wants to be Kobe. Everybody wants to be Shaq. Everybody wants to be LeBron. But what comes with the spotlight comes with a scandal. What comes with the spotlight comes with people always being in your business. When is it just going to be the stereotype that, oh, you know, black folks, you know, they're doctors. You know, black folks are engineers, you know. Black folks are truck drivers, you know. When is that going to be the standard? Not when is it going to be having locks in your head, makes you be a target or makes you be other people being intimidated by you. The only thing we can control is us. And Chauncey being a leader for all these fellas in the locker room, getting caught up in the scandal. Shannon getting caught up in the scandal with the youngin'. It ain't no game about it, bro. Because if it was some game about it, you would have never got caught up. And it's like, man, no matter what you do, it's almost looking like no matter what you do, we're going to tie you back in and we're going to make sure that you pay for what you did. And if that's how they play in the game, then the same way how when the P's got out the game, when they started throwing football numbers at people, and they started saying, okay, it's human trafficking, the P's got out the game and they switched their hustle up, and they said, hey, we're going to do something different. We're going to go make money online. We're going to go rock with the OnlyFans chicks. We're going to switch it up and do something different. The same way they did that is the same way how people in 2025 have to start saying, hey, they are charging football numbers for y'all, and the FBI and Kash Patel and Donald Trump and everybody is looking into everything and anything you do. Joe Biden was even looking into Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, all that. So if this is the new way that if these are the new rules of the game and this is the new standard, then we're going to have to switch it up and we're going to have to start adjusting. See, the thing about it is, it's not the person who plans the best all the time, because life never really goes according to plan. It's about the person who can adapt. It's about the person that when something happens, they get knocked down. They said it in Rocky. You get knocked down. It ain't about how hard you can get hit. It ain't about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. It's about how much things can be switched up on you and you can keep pushing and you can keep rocking on out. That's what it's about. And so therefore, we have to decide that we've been resilient after all these years, after all that's been done to us. But we're going to only do it legally. We're going to only do it righteously. We're going to only do it the right way. And we're going to make it happen. And ain't nothing going to stop us. Ain't nothing going to stop us by any means. And by any means necessary, we're going to make it happen. And that's the bottom line, because Big said so. You dig?